Ken Plume, and you're listening to A Bit of a Chat with me, Ken Plume. Well, hey, everybody. It's been a while since I've done A Bit of a Chat, but this is, and I've done other shows, just a few things. You can check them out in other places, but I'm back doing A Bit of a Chat with a frequent guest who it has been a very long time since this person has been on the show, and that's ridiculous, and that's largely on me, because I have understood that they are incredibly busy, because they have been doing, 74 different titles, all wonderful, stuff like Absolute Wonder Woman, and Black Cloak, and The Cull, and Scarlet, and It's Jeff, and Jeff over here, and Jeff over there. There's a lot of Jeff titles. It's hard to keep up with them. Anywho, yeah. Kelly Thompson, welcome back to the show in the most awkwardly unnatural introduction I could possibly have constructed.
Really? I liked it. Also, I really agree with you about the confusion with the Jeff titles. It's
there's a lot of permutations. Here's think, Jeff. Where's Jeff? There's Jeff.
Yeah, I think, I did talk to them about this a little bit. I was encouraged that they acknowledged they agree it's an issue. I'm not encouraged that I wasn't particularly encouraged that they have a good solve for it or that they're actively working on changing it. I think it's a combination of a little oversaturation, which makes sense. A character takes off and you want to put them in things and get it out there. And in my opinion, as Marvel knows, they think that I think this, they were very slow to recognize. Let me tell you what, I pitched, but I think it was the same year Jeff was scheduled to be in Rivals. I don't think it would have come out that Christmas, like last Christmas. It probably would have been this year sometime, or maybe it would have been ready for this Christmas, given how book publishing goes. But I pitched and the book publishing arm rejected a book pitch for Jeff. And I don't even know how much money we could have made. Like, if that had come out like at the right time when people were desperate to find this content, and I'm still hoping we're going to do it now because it's a great idea and it hits a slightly different kind of market than the comics are hitting. So I still think it's good, but I think there is a little bit of an oversaturation that's happening, but I think there's not a clear line on the collections and like how they're doing it. And so it's coming out very confused. It's like, did I already read this in a floppy and online, and now it's in a trade? Like, is there actual new content? I told them, I was like, guys, when I sit down to write a newsletter, I have trouble figuring out what's in where and what's in my store. And if I'm having that problem, it's got to be way worse for people who are casual comics readers trying to buy some Jeff comics. We got to figure this out. So I don't know. I hope it's going to streamline a bit.
We have been here before. It's not like there's not precedent of Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, Marvel Tales.
Sure. But first of all, let's just say, as much as I adore Jeff and think he is a monster who can take over the world, he's no Spider-Man. He doesn't even fucking talk, guys. Like, he can't be Spider-Man.
But there was a time when Spider-Man wasn't Spider-Man either. So
and Spider-Man couldn't talk? No. It was just a spider character. So, I don't know. I think it looks like we're going to do some more, like maybe another Jeff miniseries. I get it. I get why they want to put him everywhere, but I just, let's not oversaturate the market and kill the golden calf, right? I don't know,
or the golden shark.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, but there's some very fun stuff coming up with him. I just pitched something the other day that I thought I misunderstood or misread the email. And so I pitched for basically the equivalent of a 15-page story. And she came back, my editor came back and she's like, so I love this pitch. She's like, we really want to do it. She's like, but this is for a 4-page story. I was like, oh, fuck. I don't know how I did that. I think I must have read that I thought it was 4 installments of 3 pages or whatever. Anyway, so now I got to figure that out. It's another thing to do.
Jeff has been in a lot of different formats page-wise as well.
Yeah.
But he is versatile that way.
He is so versatile. He's so versatile. I mean, I think the most complicated thing we've done with him so far is the new book with Tokito Koro drawing it, Jim Campbell on colors. That has got a lot more sort of manga sensibility to it, like a lot of sort of tricks that you find in manga. Tokito Koro is really good with and really versed in that language. But we also had a lot of guest characters. We had we had to do multiple solves because it's sort of like a tour of the Marvel universe. We had to do like multiple solves with people trying to understand him. So like Rocket and Groot put a universal translator on him, which didn't really work, but was very fun. Rogue has been kissing him on the little head to be able to understand him. He drew with a burned stick on some cave walls for Elsa Bloodstone. So, we're finding fun workarounds.
Dialogue than he's seen since your Deadpool run.
That's what I mean. Like way more complicated. Yeah. And it was a real challenge. I actually think the challenge is bigger for the next one because it completely made sense on like a world tour of the Marvel universe to address his language barrier and keep having people trying to do it. But we can't just do that over and over. We got to like find a solve or find a hybrid that's going to work. But I don't want him to talk. I think there are fun examples of like a hilarious recent version is maybe one of my favorite Mandalorian episodes is when he gets in the robot suit that says no and yes. I mean, amazing. So, can we just steal that idea? Let's steal that. But I think it's a complicated problem that needs a smart solve. And I don't want it to be just now we understand him because of, some trick. I don't want him talking in big sentences. I also, all due respect to Tom Taylor, who I love very much, as do I love, Gabby and, Jonathan, the Wolverine, the actual Wolverine. But I didn't like that when they gave him a translator and he was talking all the time. Like, I don't always want my non-human creatures doing that, but
taking away that universality of the character.
Yes, exactly.
That has made him the ability to cross internationally.
I'm so glad you get that, Ken. A lot of people don't get that. There's a cartoon on, well, we could talk about Primal, which doesn't have any dialogue. It's tons of sound effects and violence and like an incredible, one of the greatest cartoons I've ever seen. You could watch it in any language because there's no dialogue. Similar but wildly different is a series of shorts called Lamput. Have you ever heard of this? Lamput?
No.
We discovered them just a few months ago on HBO Max, I think. And I'm sorry that I don't know the creators' names off the top of my head, but I believe they're an Indian group or an Indian guy working with animators there. And they did this really smart thing, I think, where, it's got a sort of like UPA style, like it's very stripped down. And it's basically these two characters from a laboratory who are hunting down a little orange blob that can change shape. And my God, Ken, it's brilliant. That's the entire concept. And I've laughed so hard at the creativity and the ingenuity of it. And it doesn't have any dialogue. It will occasionally have the characters like yelling at each other or something, but it's not in a language. It's like gibberish, sort of like you'd hear in a Peanuts cartoon or something, rah, 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 like that. And that makes it incredibly universal. I'm sure you could imagine part of the reason why I love it is because like that, that you could take that format and just make the orange creature Jeff. And like, that's a cartoon. Like, obviously we can't do that because these brilliant Lamput people got there first, but like you could completely do it. It would work 100%. It's
right. Well, I'm always baffled by people who are somehow confused by why Mr. Bean is known around the world and successful around the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, it's right there in that it's all physical and visual comedy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't rely on dialogue. It doesn't rely on wit that may not travel because of language differences or
Right.
cultural differences. It's a very base language of what is a situation that is
Yeah.
universal to a human or shark experience.
It's also, yeah, I mean, and honestly, that was going all the way back toward not the creation of Jeff, because Jeff first appeared in West Coast Avengers, which are just normal comics, but in when Gurihiru and I are developing um this the Jeff strip, the the conceit, I mean, I just, to figure out how to do it with it being silent and to keep it, that it tends to be a Jeff short is like 15 panels. So, I mean, some are a little longer, some are a little shorter. Marvel got very strict about the panel counts later, which it has been frustrating to me because, the strips have only gotten more complicated, not less, so
Now,
it
is that
feels
because
like
of the nature of the Infinity comic layout and how that
that
has
they
to be?
that they limit it.
Yeah.
I think they're just limiting costs. I guess I don't know for sure, but because it's a scrolling format, there isn't, you know, why not have it be longer? I don't think it's an issue, but because we've continued to not, unlike the miniseries, we don't have dialogue except for, I think, No and Jeff get said, with one exception, which was Gwenpool naming Ken in a recent comic, which we could talk about. Uh,
Why would we
certainly
want to talk
relevant,
about that?
certainly relevant to your interests. But when we were figuring that out, I was watching tons of Looney Tunes because that's it. It can't be a real story. It has to be basically a joke, because otherwise you have to have a turn at the end or a punchline, or something has to, you have to take the situation and then you have to turn it. Otherwise it's just cute, but it doesn't have anything to say or any joke or any point or any closure. So you have to get really tight on what you're trying to convey. Fortunately for me, my partner in that is Gurihiru, and they can not only draw literally anything and make it cute and adorable and fitting into the Jeff world, but their storytelling and their expression work is just phenomenal. You can ask for the most complicated expression from Jeff, and they will send it back to you having nailed it and somehow also made it even cuter than you thought possible. Like, it's shocking working with them, how good they are, how
So,
how
so
instinctual it seems to be to them. I mean, I don't want to make it like, oh, it's so easy. I'm sure it's very hard, but they make it look incredibly easy. It
but
feels completely
what is
organic.
your creative relationship like? Like, what is the communication like between you all?
Well, so Gurihiru and I almost never talk directly, which is weird, but I would say that's another way in which they're incredibly gifted, is that we don't have as close a relationship as I would like to have, or as you would think we would have, given all this time we've spent doing Jeff comics. They use a translator. So it's just all emails through the translator and through Marvel. Marvel has stepped back a little bit, like a lot of companies. I'm not trying to say Marvel does something others don't, but a lot of companies like to put themselves more between those relationships for whatever reason, whether it's more Machiavellian and evil or more just practical. We're trying to keep everyone moving because we're in the business of making comics, and our editors need to be, it's like an assembly line.
Right.
We gotta move all these parts along. So for whatever reason, companies do often want to sort of keep a bit of a wall between the disparate pieces. I obviously do not prefer that. There are times when it can be helpful, especially if there's a problem. Like, editors have a lot more experience working with a lot of creatives than I do, and so they can be really helpful in that way too. But in general, I tend to want more interaction. It's been slower building that up with Gurihiru, I think, than I'd like, just because of the translation. Like, I feel like we're talking more directly than we used to, which is great. But I would also just say, again, it just speaks to how good they are. They are, however they work it with their translator, they just get the scripts. I mean, I would love to flatter myself and say I'm writing them in a way that makes them understandable. I hope that's also true. But yeah, I mean, they send back their layouts and they're just home runs. Everyone, like, there are almost never any notes. They just know exactly what they're doing. And some of that goes to, I mean, first of all, I'm sure Gurihiru could write this stuff without me. They're so talented. I'm probably unnecessary. And part of how we get there, I like to think I'm bringing something of value to the team. But if something unfortunate happened to me tomorrow, I think they could continue on without too much trouble. They completely understand Jeff's world. And in a lot of ways, they built it. We built the It's Jeff strip together, but part of the reason It's Jeff ever got a chance to become a thing was because they were drawing him into things. They were creating a world in which Jeff just existed in the background of all these superheroes. He was on boxer shorts that Spider-Man was folding, and he was on a magnet on someone's fridge, and he was on a calendar and a pair of like just these wild things that they started drawing him into, which gave him this sort of other life inside their world. And so I think that plus me watching a lot of cartoons to sort of think about how much we could do in any given 15 panels is the basis for how we got here.
So what have been like your go-to cartoons? Because obviously, it's very evocative of like the Roadrunner, Coyote cartoons.
Yes. So, I mean, I think you and I have talked a lot about Disney because that was even more so than Looney Tunes. Disney was very formative to me. We were, as my partner says, and I'm air quoting this, rich kids, because we had access to Disney as kids. So I don't.
You had access to Disney Channel beyond the free preview weekends, is what I'm hearing.
Yes, and listen, it was a beautiful thing. It was commercial
You could watch
free.
House on Pooh Corner whenever you wanted.
I just loved it. So I was very deep in Disney cartoons. Growing up, Donald Duck was one of my favorites. Growing up, I had 1 million Donald Duck and Daisy figurines that I'd collected mostly from when we go to Disneyland or Disney World a couple times. I was very in the tank, and I loved Looney Tunes, but I was definitely more of a Disney kid. But as an adult, both just through loving cartoons and watching a lot of them, I'm very deep in Looney Tunes. Some of the things that I love about Looney Tunes, especially that you don't really see in a lot of Disney cartoons, is the sort of the UPA style and like those incredible, surreal, almost abstract art backgrounds like that you'll see in
like
Bugs Bunny cartoon or like the Roadrunner and Coyote is great ones. But also even the sheep with what's his name, the dog, like sometimes you look at a bush and you're like, I mean, that bush is art. Like, what are we even doing? It's so good. I'm like, why are those trees pink? I love it. Like, when you watch them now, you're like, wow, this all really did imprint on my brain, and I didn't even realize it. So,
well, it's weird because when you look at the Disney cartoons compared to the Warners, the thing that got me as I got older and could appreciate silence and beats was that you got a sense of the Warner characters thinking.
Yes.
And the Disney characters, you never really got a sense of them thinking through a thing. It was beautiful. It was beautifully animated.
I think, and this is the first time I'm saying this out loud, and you know a lot about this too, so feel free to say that's insane. But I sort of think, in retrospect, the Disney cartoons are very specifically geared towards kids. And Looney Tunes are all ages. Meaning, you can watch this if you're 2 and you can watch it if you're 5, but you can also watch it if you're 25 and be like, holy shit, that's an existential situation that guy's in. And I relate to Coyote now. Like, why do I hate the Acme company? Like, so I just think there's a different appreciation for Looney Tunes when you get older. And I think that's why when I think about the Jeff stories, I think more about Looney Tunes, despite the fact that Jeff is, I guess, a Disney character.
Well, I mean,
because
all the cartoons at the time were produced for, at the time for theatrical runs as part of usually adult runs of movies. They weren't geared towards kids. I mean, Saturday Mornings is what reconfigured people's perception of what those things were.
Yeah.
The Warner's ones really did. I mean, I think it's when you talk about corporate company structures,
mm-hmm.
The Leon Schlesinger films that became the Warner cartoons, cartoon company, when they were absorbed, they were entertaining themselves. They were a bunch of, wild, having fun. And it's that sense of energy that pervades it. And also a sort of hands-offish quality. Whereas Disney was Disney in his mind, eventually when they broke through on feature films, the shorts program was not that important.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things. Yeah. That was not where obviously his mind or his direction for the company was going. So it was almost like, oh yeah, we're keeping these going to keep these characters going, and it brings in money, but it's not really our focus. But also there was a much tighter rein and control. And a lot of those shorts were also intended to be proving grounds for techniques and skills that could be applied to the features after a point.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
whereas,
and I mean,
Warner's just like, we're having fun. We're having fun.
Well,
and
And that's part of what part of why I said what I said was thinking about what you were saying about the thinking that you can tell what the characters are thinking. And I think that that's part of it. Like, I think it's a higher, like there's a child is not like, oh, what's he thinking? They're just enjoying the thing. But an adult is like, my God, I know what he's thinking. Like, I can feel the wheels turning.
And it's also cheaper.
Yeah.
You can save on animation if you're having a beat where a character gives a double take.
I will say it's funny because when I think of the Looney Tunes now compared to Disney, just purely from the visual, I just am immediately obsessed when I think of Looney Tunes, like the backgrounds and the UPA styling, like the off-register coloring, all of that, those weird, surreal, almost psychedelic choices.
And really simplifying the character design.
Yeah, simplifying it all. But I would say most of the Looney Tunes characters are not what I would call cute. They are cute, but they're not super cute not all of the Disney characters, but some of the Disney characters are designed. And I would say, to bring it back to Jeff doesn't work nearly as well if he's not super cute. And I think that's one of the ways in which Marvel Rivals did a very smart redesign. I mean, listen, Gurihiru's interpretation that has sort of solidified now is always going to be my favorite. I think it's the best interpretation. But that was never going to fit style-wise with Marvel Rivals. They had to bring it into their own style. And I think they really skated the line in a great way that made him this sort of scary, tough character that's just absolutely adorable.
Right.
I know a lot of people hate him, but, a lot of people also love him. And
well, they hate him from a gameplay perspective, I'm sure.
I don't. Most of all. I mean, we were talking offline about things I say on podcasts getting me in slight trouble when they're said as
someone
facts.
who has only played Marvel Rivals as Jeff, because I found all the other characters infuriating to use. And you know what? I just run around shooting bubbles at people. I don't care. You know what? If I can be the healer off to the side, I'll be that person. I don't need to fight.
I made a joke last year when the Jeff hate was at a real fevered pitch. I made a joke about, sounds like my boy's out beating your ass. You need to get better at the game. And that a post reposting that statement has like 300 comments on Reddit or something. So I'm be a little more careful. Honestly, nobody calling for my head. So, that's an improvement, but
because you spoke the truth.
No. That's right, Ken. That's right. The truth.
I played the game and it's true.
But I think that's a really tough ask. Like, hey, bring this character in, make him fit with our world. make him sort of violent and dangerous because we want him to be a fighter that people want to play with, but also keep this incredible cuteness. That's a really hard task, and I think they nailed it.
And also not going too realistic. I mean, that's to see
Yes.
the evolution of Jeff from the beginning of West Coast Avengers, and to see that evolve.
Yeah.
Particularly when Gurihiru came in and really set the standard for it. But going even looking at that Marvel Legends figure,
Yeah.
that came out that features the fins.
Yeah. But honestly, I'm so glad that exists as like an artifact,
Yeah, the
because
weird
that
little curio of the history of his evolution.
Yeah, on this path towards where he ended up. And listen, Daniele did an incredible job. I don't think Daniele Di Niccolo, sorry guys, this is the co-creator of Jeff, who first drew him and designed him in West Coast Avengers. He did a great job.
Yeah, and also would not have had the sticking power if there wasn't a feeling that this was a unique character.
But I also have to say that
onto that and like,
yeah,
that's going to stick around.
Yeah. I mean, I took one look at that one panel. I mean, listen, the whole origin of it is that from Stefano Caselli drawing the land sharks in the first issue of West Coast Avengers and got me thinking about them. But then when Daniele drew that panel with Gwen holding him where he's just smiling and he has all those teeth, I was like, oh shit, this is going to be fun. My God, I can't believe I tried to give her a kitten before. What was I thinking? How stupid. Like, obviously it should be this crazy land shark, So that was great. But I do have to give credit to, and I don't know if Gurihiru ever saw it. We've never talked about this. But I would say between them drawing him in that exhibition poster that everyone loved, I don't know if you know it off the top of your head, but it's a really famous image of Jeff where he's with a lot of the young female characters, Squirrel Girl, Gwenpool, Spider Gwen, a couple of them, and he's wearing like a little harness, and that image went viral. I think it was for like a Tokyo Expo or something. And between that, which really got people excited about this, what is this shark dog thing? And then I think Kevin LeBronda drew him in that Deadpool issue where they go to Krakoa. And I think he was the first guy to really make him that little round boy that looks like Gurihiru was like, oh yeah, okay. We were sort of going in that direction anyway. Let's round him up, because their version is not the same as what Kevin did, but Kevin's is a real departure from what Sandoval was doing just before him.
More traditional
shark
proportions.
More traditional shark proportions. And Sandoval had a slightly different take than Boccello did, which was right before Sandoval. And of course, Chris Boccello's take was different than Daniele's, which is where it had come from. So it's been very fun to watch that evolution. I think it helped us land on, this perfect guy that I mean, here's how you know it's great, because I was just writing in this pitch that I told you now is not going to work. I was like, oh, and he'll be in his business suit here. And I was like so excited to write that we got to put him back in the business suit, which is just, I mean, it's just so fun. I just love it. I just love it.
I mean, it's one of those brilliant alchemies of creation, of it just everything coming together in the right ways at the right time.
Yeah.
Through an iterative process, which is the best part of collaboration.
But I will say that for anyone out there who's like feeling frustrated, even keep in mind, he didn't really take off. I mean, he took off a little bit in that we've been doing a digital strip for him for a couple of years, but it really wasn't until Marvel, right? I mean, like I said, this book pitch for this fun book thing that got rejected in the middle of him having the web short and everything. That didn't get approved. So even when you're making this progress, like it tends to take, in order for the breakout like this, it tends to take excuse me, I've got the hiccups. It tends to take something like Marvel Rivals to
But it wouldn't have happened
really make people sit up and pay attention, you know?
unless Jeff stuck around
Yes.
and was appealing. So someone
Yes.
on some level in the creative process loved Jeff and
Yeah.
thought, "Oh, Jeff's going to be part of this game.
Yeah. It's me.
I want
Yeah.
Jeff in this
Yeah.
game."
Yeah.
And then, and then it just had player
Yeah.
response.
And you can really tell that they really, I mean, like the penchant for Jeff wearing costumes. I mean, games love skins, so obviously they were looking for that kind of thing anyway. But it's very chicken or the egg to me, where they like, oh, this shark loves to dress up in
what's
costumes.
a good entry point character?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, I think so too.
So also, let's make it a thing that, hey, if you don't like to fight, you can be the person that hangs back and just heals the other characters. You can be the support person.
Yeah, yeah.
But also, you want to swallow people up with a whirlpool, you can do that too.
So do you want to talk about Ken? Should I let me apologize on air for taking your name without permission?
Yes, because I'm the only one who has that name. In fact, they did a whole Barbie movie that included me too. It was really awkward. And the song is so awkward. Nobody asked.
It's great that movie is pretty great, though, right? I mean,
yes. Oh, yeah. No.
Imagine if it had gone the other way.
It was not that Ken's too great a character through most of that movie. So
no, but
there were complications.
Still Ryan
with Ken.
Gosling, like how bad can it be, right?
he managed to come back at the end, thankfully, and come back around and understand his issues. So, but until that point, some awkward moments. You know what? I saw the announcement. And I was very happy to see, because there's been, there was another time that, thanks to you, that I appeared
well,
in an intentional way.
Better. Yeah.
Based on a bit of a chat that we had. In fact, I think that was maybe the last time we did a bit of a chat.
Was it? Wow.
Was that conversation? Shows you how long ago that was.
That's crazy.
In Captain Marvel, if anyone was it issue 15 17 right?
And I think 12 I think it was 17. Yeah,
but I remember we were having just a fun conversation about what sort of I think it was just like what a game night would be.
Yeah,
for Carol.
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic issue. People should check it out. And
I really like that issue more than maybe I should. It's just fun. I always like the downtime issues though, so I'm a sucker for those.
I think maybe that's even what our conversation was sort of skirting, like having fun, like those little beat episodes of just a character exploration, how much fun and how rarely they happen nowadays.
Yeah, they do feel really rare.
But it's the same thing with TV shows now. Like when you cut down from a 22 episode season to, if you're lucky, a 10, maybe an 8, most likely a 6, you're not going to get moments to breathe where it's just like, here's a fun character episode that has no mythology to it.
Yeah. It's also really hard because I really, there's a thing that happens to me, especially now that we live in the 10 episode season, where I start to get really angry and resentful if the creators have introduced new characters that I have to, it's just because I know I've only got, 16 more episodes of this. I want all of the episodes to be about these characters I already care about. It's sort of like if you're thinking of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, that last season, which I actually think is really good. It has some really great stuff in it. But the biggest problem is, it's your last season with those characters, and you have to spend tons of time with all these new potentials that you do not give two shits about. And the ones that they try to focus on to try to be like, hey, this one has a personality, care about this one, are really irritating. Like Willow's new to-be girlfriend, who's awful. Oh, gosh, now I'm going to be on a podcast about that. Shit. Ken.
You are on a podcast about it right now.
No, I mean, someone's going to clip that out, and then it's going to be a fucking headline on an article. Well, we might have to cut that out.
But all that. I was watching Buffy at that time. It was all of that was weird because and I'm not saying negative or positive either way. It's always weird on a show where they clearly don't know if they're continuing on past a certain point. But they're trying to throw in, I've known writers who sit in those writers' rooms, and when they're just thinking of how can we make it interesting for us? We've written
Well,
about these
yeah,
other
I
characters
mean,
so much. What can we do just to bring
sure.
something new in?
Sure. And like, listen, story has to, you can't just keep it static and just keep these characters in one room or whatever. I get it. I'm a creator myself. I understand the
And also,
challenges, but
how many characters have been introduced that you thought, I hate this character so much, but 2 seasons later, you're like, I love this character so much. They
I
did
don't
so
think
much. So maybe it's
they,
that point of having that realization that we're not going to get the time to learn to love these characters
yeah, maybe.
through
I mean,
story.
no amount of time was going to make me like Kennedy, but I hear you. But I do think you're probably right that in the case of Buffy in particular, the potentials and all of that story, I'm sure, they knew that they
The
couldn't
irony
keep.
of the name of those of that group of
Yeah,
characters
right.
as
Yeah.
well.
Well, I'm sure they knew they can't keep Sarah Michelle Gellar, right? So I'm sure they're like, if we go beyond this, it has to be something different. So
Yeah,
maybe
it's like
it's
that last
new
season of
characters.
Scrubs.
Yeah. Well, I didn't watch Scrubs, but I believe you. But yeah, I think, but it happens even on shows like Mad Men. Like it bothers me less on a rewatch, but like when I was watching it the first time through, I was so angry about the what's her name? Megan, the new wife of Don Draper. Not because I didn't want him to get married, but because we spent so much time with her and I was furious. I'm like, what about Joan? I want to know about Joan's story. And like, we know we're not spinning Mad Men off into it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they are thinking that at some point. I don't know. And listen, in retrospect, I don't dislike it at all. Megan is not only a great character who gets screwed in a very different way than Joan and Peggy do. And so she adds like a lot to it. But also it completely changes Dawn's whole trajectory and everything that happens. So like once I can calm down about it, I'm fine to look at the
Yeah.
larger work and like appreciate it. But I just get very selfish about knowing how little time I'm going to have left. And I don't know. I wanted to blame it on the shorter seasons, but the first example I gave you was Buffy, which was 22 episodes. So I guess that argument is shot.
But it was 22 episodes in its 6th and 7th season, so you knew that the
Yeah.
show was and it already skirted the bubble to get to those seasons, so you knew
Yeah.
that the clock was ticking
Yeah.
on the show.
It's true.
You knew
It's
it was
true.
not going to, and also the network around it was collapsing. So there were a lot of factors that were like, this is nothing's coming from this. So, but I think it also all just plays into that as audiences that, or just human beings in general, not liking uncertainty and not knowing where this is going to go. I don't understand. Why is this important? Why is this a thing? And you as a writer have had readers come at you about, well, what's going on with this? Why is this a thing? What's going on? Why did you do this?
Yeah.
And you just have to be like, just be patient. Just see. It's going to be fine. Or if it's not, we'll all move on to the next thing.
So Ken, Marvel had been wanting me to make. They've been asking me for a while to create a new.
We need a new Jeff.
Yeah, a new creature, which I'll be honest with you, it's flattering. It's flattering that they think there's some magic there. I would love to believe there's some magic there, but I think it's a lot of things. But anyway, I was hesitant to do it for a lot of reasons, including the similar saturation stuff we're talking about. Like, I want the things I make to be for a reason, not for like an arbitrary. Like, I'm sure every creator feels this way, but going back to early days of creating, like, I would get so irritated when you would get an arbitrary note like, we should cut 10,000 words. I mean, fuck off with that note. Like, if you've got 10,000 words worth of cuts to make this a better, stronger book, I'm there. I am absolutely there. Let's do it. An arbitrary cut because, I don't know. And then I'm putting all these things in air quotes now. That's what the industry likes, or that's the appropriate length, or, I feel better about that. Whatever it is. I don't care. I don't like that arbitrary note.
10,000 is
So
just a lucky number. Cut it.
yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. Like that's what it sounds like. It sounds like just it's not based in anything real. And so I felt the way. I mean, it's dumb as it seems to take something, be so serious about the creation of a mutant octopus or septapus, I guess, since it's got the wrong number of legs. It doesn't have to be that serious, but I do take this seriously, maybe because it's the only thing I know how to do. So I take my career seriously.
Was because of how organic Jeff came together and how much of a surprise it was to all, and that trying to manufacture that is a concern of this was magic, and you're asking for another miracle without appreciating what a special thing that was.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I mean, again, I don't want to make it sound more important than it is.
And you don't want to be like, and then I created Cousin Oliver.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also like, you also don't want the Poochie situation, right?
Which is you don't want to be you don't want to bring Scrappy Doo into into
exactly. So when it finally made a bit of sense, I went for this Ken character, and knowing that we were going to be able to roll him into another story right away, like independent of whether he was going to show up in a miniseries or in the regular It's Jeff Adventures, I knew we were doing this Halloween themed one right after the debut of Jeff or of Ken. And so it just made sense. It worked, and it ended up being very fun creating a little pal for Jeff. I mean, I did really like in the costume one that follows the debut, it's like Jeff needs a couple's costume to win a bunch of candy, and nobody will partner up with him because everyone's busy. And so then he goes to this septapus that has nothing going on, and it's like, and that
Jeff knows has nothing going on.
Yeah. And Ken's like, yes, I'm in. And Jeff is like, great. So it's like he's got his own little sidekick now. It was pretty fun. I made him a kleptomaniac. We sort of tried to hide it a little bit, but yeah, he's a kleptomaniac. We all have our problems. Jeff wants to eat everything, and Ken wants to steal everything. They'd be a great crime duo, I guess. But they have big hearts, so,
Well, that excuses everything.
Yeah, I mean, I just mean they're heroes in the end. They don't eat their friends, and they give back whatever they stole from them, I guess. I don't know, something like that.
Well, in a way that everyone wants to be flattered. It was like, yes, another Ken in the world. And let's be absolutely clear, it is in no way I was not part of this process at all as far as your thought, because it's based on Kraken, right? It's short.
Yeah, Crack Ken. Yeah, that's how Gwen assumes that his name is Ken because they're on the pier, and he gets sort of Jeff and he are fighting basically, and he gets flung onto a sign that says like, cracking game or whatever, but his body is covering the first part of the word. And then so the Ken just like lights up, and man, I love it. It's a great little shot. And then Gwen's just like, oh, Ken, hey, what's up? And then she just leaves, and then that's it. And Jeff's like, what? Like, you can't name this now? I'm dealing with this thing and it's got a name? Like, what have you done? But it did feel very fitting for her to sort of name him the same way she gave Jeff his random name. And the fact that it's Jeff and Ken, like, I don't know, at least Ken came from somewhere, but it's pretty funny. I love it. But really, what really happened is I was still hesitant, and then Gurihiru sent in the designs, and I was like, why was I hesitant? This is pure fun. Why would I have resisted this? Let's do 1,000 issues of Ken now. I'm in.
That's the magic of Gurihiru.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, no matter what the reality of me having absolutely nothing to do with it being an inspiration for it or taking it, I am adding it to my Wikipedia and let people contest it later.
Well, I really appreciate that you are cool about it and not incensed, because I'm sure there are some people named Jeff out there who would like to throttle me. And honestly, fair.
Well, they can go talk to
I'd feel the same way if there was a shark out there named Kelly that everyone loved and hated. I'd be really irritated with whoever made that shark. So
Also,
I feel you, and I apologize, Jeffs. If you're not enjoying it, I apologize.
coming soon to It's Jeff, Kelly will be the next character. Turnabout,
please no.
fair play. What character would you be if you were creating another that would have the name Kelly within Jeff?
That was a creature?
Yeah, within that world.
I don't know.
What would you want? What would you, because yeah, obviously
I
you're
think
writing
there's a
it.
difference between what I would want to be and what I am. I would want to be some kind of cool cat, like powerful live cat or something.
I mean, that goes back to Looney Tunes, because Chuck Jones' famous comment was, "I would really like to be Bugs Bunny, but I know I'm Daffy Duck."
Yeah, no, that's, I mean, definitely, 100%. 100%.
Well, you have to think about that. You have plenty of time. Ken's got to settle in a little bit in the strip.
Yeah, no, I'm planning on making myself a pet.
Don't worry, it'll inspire so many people on the internet to talk. Oh, did you see great. How she's self-inserted into Jeff just to ride his coattails?
God. I really see that comment a lot. I mean, not for me very much, fortunately, but where people are like, oh, it's their self-insert character. I don't really think anyone's doing that. I don't think anyone who's trying to write comics, which is a hard thing to do and is a breakneck pace if it's going well and you're writing a few, no one's got time to be doing like fanfic about what they wish was going on. I mean,
the only person I can see doing that, and it's every character, is Chip Zdarsky. Clearly every single character in every book is a self-insert. He's Captain America, he's Doom, he's Batman, he's every... That's the only one I believe.
Chip is his own entity.
He his own multitudes.
His own whole world. I mean...
Even his name was created by himself.
Yes, in true facts. You are sort of making me want to see like a Chip universe where it's just Chips. Like Chip is Wonder Woman, Chip is Wolverine, Chip is Jeff. Like they're all Chips. I'm sort of.
This should be the next Marvel event.
Yes. Honestly,
what is the Zdarskyverse?
This is the way to get me back to events. Let's do it. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be involved, but I just want to read it.
I just need to hear you from the inside talking about how the summit goes, discussing the Chip verse, and how.
Oh man!
And let it be a surprise. Like no one tell Chip. It just happens without his involvement.
I mean, I'm going to veto you there, Ken. I think I think nobody could write that and draw it with more insanity than Chip himself. I think the in-jokes and the like navel gazing through the looking glass mirror level you would get with Chip at the helm would be even more insane.
Yes, we need a Chip Zdarsky destroys the Marvel universe.
It's it'll be like when John Malkovich goes into John Malkovich's own portal. It'll be like that, but
yeah,
Chip
a real
Zdarsky
Chipception
and the Marvel universe. Moment. Yeah.
But listen, I think that probably will end
Marvel,
all reality.
DC, go ahead and call me. You both got my number. Chip also has my number. Let's work this out. We could do a bidding war over which one of you wants the Chip Zdarsky universe, like World 666, I assume, or 66969. I don't know, something like that.
We all know that the highest bidder will be Chip.
I mean, listen, if he's got that kind of scratch, good for him.
The ability to, well, I mean, he's writing so many books.
He is. I don't know how he does it. He's so creative, and yet everything that comes out of his mouth is, how does he have time to be funny? I do not understand it. Like, there's a handful of these people that I've come into contact with, and listen, I feel like everyone's more productive and efficient than I am these days. I feel like so slow and so plodding on everything. It's frustrating. But there are people, I mean, Hayden Sherman is the fastest person alive. Or Hayden has clones of themselves that they've got in a basement working full time on comic books. I don't know how the work can be so transcendentally, just mind-blowingly great and so fast. I can't even tell you. I can barely keep ahead of them. And
You say that, and I get to say this as the person who's not you in this conversation saying it about your work. You're putting out numerous books every
yeah,
month, and
yeah.
I think they're great.
Thank you.
I think you're doing high level work.
Thank
Obviously,
you.
the Eisner voters think it too,
Thank you. I will say that, I've
but I think
said
every
something.
creator gets that feeling
Yeah.
where you're like, oh, I'm so exhausted because deadlines are exhausting and constant.
I just think I I would like to write a single email next year that doesn't start with "I'm sorry."
Oh, I thought your entire thing was I would just like to write a single email
No,
next year. No,
no.
just a
I
single
write
email.
a million emails every day. I mean, well, that would be nice, but impossible. I mean, most of my work is done via email. So I love my email because I love my work, but I would like to write a single email next year that doesn't have the words "I'm sorry" somewhere in there. Most of them start with "I'm sorry" because I'm late. I'm late all the time on everything, no matter what I do. Now, some of that is an overloaded schedule. Some of that is mismanagement of an overloaded schedule. I don't know. Some of it is I have trouble saying no to things. Some of it is I should probably have.
Every freelancer has that issue.
My cat. I'm sorry if you can hear him. Monarch, come here. Come on. Don't be a dick. Just be quiet.
I mean,
Um,
you named him Monarch.
yeah.
Can he be anything but?
Yeah. it's it's pretty. Don't name your cat after a supervillain, folks.
Mighty Monarch.
But yeah. So I just mismanagement of my time. What was I going to say? Oh, some part of it at least is that I'm at a level where I should probably have an assistant who is helping me certainly with my store and things like that, but maybe also with other things. And I don't have the space. I don't have the money or the space to like make that a reality. I don't even really have an office. So like, I want to believe there's a better, more efficient future headed my way. And I'm working hard to do that, but it's been frustrating. And a thing I say on a lot of casts ever since the pandemic is that I feel like my whole life, I think probably most creators feel this way. I'll always be trying to get better and struggling against that. But since the pandemic, I do feel like I'm working at a higher level, which was sort of its own process, but everything takes so I'm really happy with the quality, but like it takes like 3 times as long. And I'm still trying to do 4 or 5 books a month, depending on, they don't all land, the way it structures out is a little different. Like right now, there's not a lot coming out, but
but they're
next
still being worked
February
on.
or March, it'll be a lot more, So, yeah, it's all happening at the same time, even if the publishing schedule is a little off. So yeah, it's just, but there's not really enough money, or I don't make enough money to be like, oh, these books are working at a higher level and therefore I need to be doing less books. It's just not really a reality. I'm not trying to complain.
You're a freelancer, and that presents so many financial challenges in and of itself that you have to overcome and deal with. That the creators who are on a level to be able to afford assistance probably have been working at it for a long time, had a couple of lucky things strike
to
make that possible, which then allowed the breathing room to make that sustainable.
Yeah.
But you have to get to that point, and all of that can be extremely arbitrary.
Yep.
Because you can write the best book in the world, but if it's not marketed or doesn't drop at the right time, or something happens to the company that it's being released, who knows? All the myriad reasons that things just don't find an audience. Or suddenly a book you did 10 years ago finds an audience.
Yeah.
Out of the blue. And it was nothing that you did other than you did that thing 10 years ago and it exists, but it's a delayed response to it.
I keep wishing that even a fraction of the people that loved Mattia's issues of Absolute Wonder Woman would pick up the call. I mean, it'd be a game changer for that book, and that work deserves to be seen. It's a bummer.
The Cull, Black Cloak. I mean, all the independent stuff that you've done.
Yeah.
I hope people will check out. Anyone listening to this, if they haven't checked it out, I think that as someone who's followed your work and appreciated it for years, and I say this as an absolute compliment, and hope it's taken as such, that even above and beyond the work that I loved from the past, I feel that you've leveled up.
Thank you.
As
it
a
does.
writer.
It's absolutely a compliment, and I really appreciate that. It means a lot.
Reading through the Cull, or reading through Absolute Wonder Woman, and just the statements and the philosophy that's woven through it.
Yeah.
Is an additional maturity above and beyond what was there in the past, and weaving that through, if people actually, the sort of worldview that you're putting out through Absolute Wonder Woman, and weaving throughout that is wonderful and very necessary for the times that we're in. And, I assume, but you can tell me otherwise, that, obviously a lot of the things that have happened in recent years has informed, and influenced maybe your integration of a lot of those themes into the work, and as it appears.
Yeah.
As well as Black Cloak, as well as the Cull. That sense of community, and found family, and people sticking together in a difficult situation that seems insurmountable.
Well, thank you so much. It means a lot to hear that. And listen, there's an element even in my own complaint, or trying to explain the whole, I'm happy with the quality, but it takes 3 times as long. And maybe that's just what it is. It takes 3 times as long to write at this other level. And now I've experienced this. But I guess I would say that the reason that remains frustrating above and beyond figuring out how to make the money thing work better is I just don't feel like I have control over that. I can't tell always. I mean, Wonder Woman has been a weird outlier in that it's just a different animal. It's sort of a different assignment than I've ever had before, more challenging, but also more freeing in other ways. It has a fully aligned vision, and the full, very committed, locked in creative team. Even when Hayden disappears for 2 issues, to get ahead, it's still who we're picking and who's involved. It's all very well-oiled machine in a way I've almost never experienced on any other book. And I'm sure it's part of what's allowed me to do some career best work there, I think. But, I can't tell, is that all also happening on Buffy? Is my part still working at the level? I can't tell, especially because comics is such a collaborative medium. It's if I'm swinging for the fences every time and pulling it off, it doesn't necessarily mean it will make things better, because there are so many other moving parts. I certainly owe it to my whole team to do the best I can do, whatever that's going to be. But yeah, I mean, there's a little question mark there about how much I'm in control of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think we can probably extrapolate that to every aspect of our lives. And that feeling.
Yes.
And I think the point, and I'm not saying, because I don't want to be a hypocrite to feel, because I got it sorted out, because who does? Nobody. Is that, you try and get to that point of acceptance of going, the only thing I have control over is trying to do the best that I can do in the situation or the collaboration. And that's the only thing. to the best
Yeah.
of my ability with the circumstances that are presented to do the work to the best of my ability or to live my life to the best of my ability. And you have no other control over circumstance beyond that, positive or negative, other than to
You're
go,
right.
oh, I did my best, or I tried to, comport myself in the best way possible in life, or just not be an asshole, all those things that you can directly affect in a
Yeah.
situation. Or if I was an asshole, did I try and make up for it? Did I try and fix, the things? Or creatively, did I try and get better? Did I try and do this?
Yeah.
And those exist in isolation or in collaboration. That sort of ethos, I think, is the only thing that we can control. And I think if you're doing the best work you can only hope for the best. And sometimes it does work out. Obviously circumstances hit well with Jeff, but it was a delayed response, and you were working in a vacuum. You were just having fun with it, and also
Yeah.
the unique thing of having, the thing that I think was the most brilliant moment and fun was having that handoff of Jeff and Deadpool.
Yeah. I mean,
From
Gwenpool
Gwenpool to
really,
Deadpool and going, listen, this is the only way he survives.
it was, Gwenpool's never been more right.
But
She
that's a
is,
moment that could not have happened. That could have been a choice that didn't happen, that didn't get
yeah.
realized, that didn't get done. And suddenly
Yeah.
Jeff is just like so many other oddball characters, they just disappear.
Yeah.
They become a footnote.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yes.
But having that moment and the meta nature of that moment as well, of like, well, yeah, I mean, the only persistence that anything has is to find a way to be present in the moments that we find ourselves in.
Yeah.
And again, in fact or fiction, reality or the creative space, being present. And I think the strength in being present and continuing to be present to the best of your ability, I think, is the most we can do. This got really super deep, and I'm
No, I think you're right on the money. I mean,
but that, I think, is that moment. I think that crystallized in reading that at the time when, there was no Marvel Rivals, there was no this, and,
yeah.
still mourning the loss of West Coast Avengers.
Yeah.
That was a fun book. That's a real shame that book went
Yeah.
away in the circumstances it did. That should have gone on. There was so much fun in that. And like, oh, hey, here's this little beat. That's a fun little beat to have.
Yeah, it was I really loved doing that book. It it fell apart. We found out by like 8 or something, 7 or 8, that we weren't going to be able to keep going. And it was so frustrating because I just had so many big plans that I was trying to do. But I had also almost quit that book over some things or gotten fired. I think I was going to quit, but maybe they would have fired me. I don't know. I'm not
Sometimes the
going to
two aren't
say.
mutually exclusive.
Yeah, right. I'm not going to say the thing because, as we discussed, that will end up in a news story, and I'm not interested in that. So
That's for the memoir.
yeah, as if it's like the most boring memoir of all time.
Oh, there's the
Nobody
title.
would read that. I do actually have a memoir title, which is "How's the Seating at the Venue," which is about being a recluse who doesn't like to be out in public. Anyway, so yeah, I think that I don't remember what I was saying. West Coast Avengers. I loved doing it. It was so fun and freeing and different, and
also recalibrated a lot of the members of that cast as characters that has seen dividends past that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, every creator who comes onto a book leaves some kind of stamp on a character.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think Kate, I for sure helped build her voice. I mean, I think Matt Fraction has most of the credit there. I certainly stood on his shoulders to do what I did. But I get people all the time coming to me and saying that they love my Kate and that it's their favorite version of the character, even though she's had a lot of great takes, and that they really see her in the show, like my Kate in the show and stuff. And what an incredible cast that is for Kate. Oh, she's so good. Anyway.
Or Elsa Bloodstone in Deadpool.
I mean, what about Elsa?
Oh, no, I mean,
Just that
providing a spin and a voice on that character.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like maybe Elsa just doesn't have enough popularity. People don't tend to come up to me and say that. People rarely talk to me about Elsa, even though I shove her into anything I can. So, clearly I'm a bit alone there.
Well, she's in that Werewolf by Night.
I actually think they made a huge mistake there. And let's just be clear in case this ends up in a headline. I think that actress is great. I think she did a great job. But I think casting an actress who almost looks as close as you can get to Kristen Ritter is a mistake, especially for a character. Elsa Bloodstone and Jessica Jones are light years apart in how they look and how they move and how they feel. So casting women that look just like each other, it's confusing, and it puts a bullet in what you can do with Elsa right out of the gate, because the Kristen Ritter Jessica Jones has already been well established, and let's be honest, is great. It's a great translation of a character to the screen. And why would you step on that by casting a woman who could play her sister as a woman who looks nothing like that and doesn't behave like that? It was very frustrating to watch. It was particularly frustrating to watch because I thought it was really good. I really liked it. It was one of my favorite things Marvel had done in a while. That cool black and white, I guess it must not have been that successful for them, or I feel like we would have gotten more of them, but I really loved it. Did you like it?
I did. Well, I mean, it also had a friend in it, so I kind of had to like it.
Well, there you go. You're biased. Oh my God, we have to talk about Reese. I forgot. Remember when I was like, "Oh, I don't have that much time." See, now we've gotten in trouble.
Well, you know what? We're gonna make a swift transition into something that I absolutely had to bring up.
All right,
because I'm throwing down a challenge.
Okay.
And it's based on our mutual love of Taskmaster.
Okay.
Which we've never really gotten the chance to talk much about outside of emails.
That's funny. That's funny. It is. You're right. We haven't talked about it much.
And you had this really fun thing that you were doing via your newsletter that people should go sign up for, where you were doing this game that you were playing with the X-Men trading cards.
Oh, right. Yeah, X-Men War.
So here's what I'm laying down. Of all of the characters you've worked on, you're going to assemble a 5-character panel for Taskmaster out of the characters you've worked on.
Well, wait, can I also cast the Taskmaster and his assistant?
Yes, you can.
So the Taskmaster is absolute Wonder Woman, but at her most mommy dommy vibe, not her nice vibe.
So we're definitely going with Greg-esque as on all the Taskmasters around the world. We're going for the Greg vibe.
Well, Greg is. I don't know. I like Jeremy, but Greg is.
Jeremy has grown on me. I still think that Jeremy, just as a presenter, is very dry, but
he's dry, but he's grown on me. I think he's loosened up
quite a bit.
He's loosened up a lot, which has helped a lot. He's also very handsome to look at, which is never a bad thing. And he's nice. And we won't talk about Australia.
We will not. We will not talk about.
It's making me furious, Ken. Anyway.
Yeah. There's a couple of things that creep up in the Taskmaster Australia that are clearly some cultural issues they still need to work out when it comes to various things that keep cropping up in it.
But it's a whole mess. Anyway. So I would go hardcore Diana for the Taskmaster role. Oh gosh, who would be our little assistant? I mean, that's actually harder because part of me wants to make it Steve, but I feel like it's a little diminishing of him since the relationship between Greg and Alex is so disturbing.
I mean,
I mean, it's
who is
not
always,
really, but
because if you're going with like an Alex,
it's more like, it should be Barbara. It should be Barbara Minerva, not Cheetah, because she's a nerd. She's super smart. She would be into it. She would get invested, and,
she would
she'd
have
be
jokes she
tiny.
keeps trying to bring into it. Just like, I
Yeah,
know this is
maybe
going to be
that aren't
funny.
good. Yeah, that aren't funny. Yeah,
I've been
that's
thinking
good.
about this
All
a
right.
lot. I've really been thinking
All
about
right.
this joke a lot, and I want to try
All
it
right.
out.
So Barbara, I want for the tasks, Laura Wolverine is one of them for sure. Just violent in every task, not interested in the actual directive. A real Jason Mantzoukas energy, but like less funny, destroying everything. Maybe Kate Bishop, because that would be a completely opposite energy. Would be super fun.
A thinker, or comes in thinking that they'll be able to think through the tasks, which
And
I think
look,
is even better when they're like, I'm super smart and I'm a problem and I do puzzles all the time and I can really.
Look, I've done it again. Of all women, Kelly. Maybe I would do Clint, because Clint would be like terrible at most of them, but then just like absolutely nail some of them, like harder than anyone could ever nail it. Like,
you mean one of those surprising, like, how did he think outside the box like that?
And also just like the physical stuff. Like, remember when Russell knocks that fucking ball off I'm sure it's some kind of on one shot, and you're like, whoa, like.
But he's also equally as surprised by it.
Yeah. I think, didn't he like go like, yeah, well, I think he played it off. It was fun.
Yeah, but
anyway.
But you look at the micro expression, it was like, oh. And I think Clint is like continually surprised by what he's able to pull off.
Yes, for sure. Gosh, this is very, this is hard. I will say that in fairness to me, I mostly write female characters, so I feel like those are who I go to.
I just want to say, I have not pointed out one way. You're bringing up your own issues by saying this. I'm not saying anything. I'm happy with whatever you choose.
No, I'm just saying I don't want to just only write female characters all the time. Like, I'm just casting this, and I do it.
I don't even look at it that way. I just look at that you're writing interesting characters all the time.
Maybe Barda should be the Taskmaster. Oh no. I do think Diana's too nice. Like, it would be hard for her to be tough.
To have Barda
But Barda would be so mean, it would change the direction of the whole show.
Do you think it's Barda being mean or Barda being honest?
She doesn't mean, she's not trying to be honest. She just doesn't, or she's not trying to be mean. She just doesn't have a filter, really.
Yeah.
She just sort of says what she says, and
the reality of the situation of like, you did really bad at that task.
Yeah.
You don't deserve 5 points.
She also just has her own, I mean, the way I write her, which I know a small minority seem to have a problem with, she's very Barda is best. Like, whatever she thinks is the best thing. And she's mostly right. Like, she's a hero, and she's tough, and she's smart, and she's, whatever. So that's true a lot. It's just not always true, and she doesn't care.
The supreme self-confidence of the Taskmaster as well.
Yeah. I would say you'd make Cass her little sidekick, but that doesn't really work. Cass wouldn't say anything, which would be blissful. Oh, Alex, if you could shut up sometimes. Although, I got to tell you, Alex has really grown on me. He has stopped doing most of the things that I find most irritating, and I've learned to love him.
What were some of the things that were sticking out as?
Well, I hate the thing when he's like, Bill did it in 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And then he goes, but Ken did it in 22 seconds and 3 minutes. And look, just tell us the fucking score, Alex. I hate it. But one of the things I hate more than that is when he's like, Knowles was 3.5 mole rats long. What? Mole rats? Just give me the numbers. I hate it. I hate all the little bits
seemingly
like
quirky
that.
For quirky's sake.
Yeah, that's really my only complaints about the show. And honestly, Alex has all but removed. I mean, he, it's fine if he wants to do it every once in a while. I just don't like when he wants to combine their names into some dumb pun that never works. Like, I don't like that. So those little quirky things I don't like.
But that's the necessity of Greg being there. to call him on it in those
a
moments.
little bit, but I got to be honest with you. I like the Greg and Alex dynamic for the most part. And especially now that I've warmed up so much to Alex in the last few years, it's not as much of a problem, but I don't really like the whole thing that I guess the British public wants them to lean into, or the international public, whatever, where it's like their weird dynamic where he's in love with him and he thinks he's a creep. Or it's not for me. I mean, it's fine. It's fine that it's part of the show, whatever, but I don't care about it.
So should we do a periodic assistant swap and have like Paul come in with Greg?
Well, I got to tell you, the Australian guy, I don't know if the other guy's infecting him, but he's falling down my ranking. I really loved him, and now he's getting worse. Maybe as Alex is getting better, maybe only one of them can ascend at once. One taskmaster and one assistant can reign supreme at once or something. I don't know.
Maybe there does need to be a rotation just to keep everyone in check. But
yeah, Cass would not be a good assistant, even though it would be fun to have her and Barda. I would say put her in a task, but again, she's not going to want to talk, and you've already got Laura in there for the violent component.
Because
wait, we're missing the trick. This is my thing about I never get to write male characters. It should just be Barda as Taskmaster and Mr. Miracle as the assistant. He knows all the traps. He knows, he's a puzzle guy.
Yeah,
and
so he would
tiny.
Delight in coming up with the text.
Yeah. There we go. Now we're cooking. So 2 DC characters running the show.
And you can keep the whole weird romantic thing going that Alex and Kev.
Yeah, with the weird dominating. Yes, this is it. We found it. We found the mix. And then Kate Bishop, Clint, and there can be a lot of fun with them having the same fucking name, both being Hawkeye. We can make a lot of those jokes everyone loves. Wolverine, Laura Wolverine. I mean, part of me just wants to put the other Wolverine in there just to fuck with everyone. But gosh, I don't know. It's hard. There's too many to choose from. Well,
who would be? Because they tend to put at least one like super straight laced, play by the rules.
Well, I mean, I do think Kate would be that. Like, I think Kate would get into the game, but you're right that she's got a like very freewheeling kind of an energy. But who would take it really seriously and be good at it, or think they're going to be good at it? Because you're right. I mean, this is the problem. This does not make for great. Should have asked me this question earlier, so I could have had all my thoughts before the cast. But I think I like everything. I take it too seriously because I think a lot about.
I want you to spin this off and think about it more beyond what you decide here. So this is only for the moment.
Okay.
Because
I'll keep thinking about it. Because
I think it could be fun to open it up and start doing like, hey, we're constructing Taskmaster seasons with comic book characters.
I do think there's a real art to the chemistry. Like, I would love to be the fly on the wall when they're trying to cast a new season. Like, do they have a lot of people they're choosing from and they're just narrowing it down based on availability? I mean, that's possible, but I think it's more about really looking at it and going, listen, this person is likely to be a Joe Brand who's not going to want to do any of the tasks right and is going to complain all the time and is not going to take it seriously and is going to break the rules. And because of that, but they'll be really funny and it'll be great. And then because of that, we need to make sure we've got, these two more straight-laced who are going to take the challenges seriously. Like,
and you have a wacky
there's a
Joker
real art to
type
that
as well. Like,
Mm-hmm.
who's like the goofball?
Yeah. I mean, I think that
like Phil Ellis for this latest season was clearly the goofball Joker energy.
I mean, he looked like one of the times, the one where they were doing one of my favorite tasks. Oh, this will bring it around to Reese in a lovely way. The most rewound moment of this season of Taskmaster was when they were playing that game when they were at the racetrack. And Reese spun that olive wheel and it fell apart and he looked back at him and he's like making this face at him and Alex goes and he's like, Alex goes, well, that counts. And he starts to complain, so angry. And then Alex goes, will that be good for you? And he, his face is just true art, how he shifts from angry to, oh, well, that's great then. Good to hear it. Good to hear that's the rule. Like, I mean, just pure art. And Reese had a bunch of those. But that one, I mean,
now, have you watched like Inside
Reese's
Number
face
9?
when they were climbing up when they made the game together, where they each had the rules, and what's his name made the horrible rule where you have to slide down when you get to the spot before the end of the game.
Snakes and Ladders.
Snakes and Ladders game. I mean, his face when he realized that what's his name made it that way, made the game that way. I mean, I thought he was going to lose his mind. Yeah.
No, Reese, the most fun for Reese, for me, and knowing Reese, was those records in the studio and him reacting to finding out what other people were doing.
Yes.
And what those little turnabouts were, or what the little surprises or the other solves that people did.
Yeah. Great season. Again, like I didn't know any of those comedians. I sort of knew, I was familiar with Maisie, like I'd seen her around before, but I didn't know any of them. And now I feel like they're my best friends. And thank you for 10 weeks of laughs, because I don't know, man, it's the greatest show. But I just, the chemistry of the cast, and you're right to like put that challenge forward, because it is like building a comic book. Like you're looking for this very specific chemistry. And it can rise or fall based on that. I mean, when I look at my favorite seasons, I mean, there are always tasks that are stronger and weaker, of course. I don't like gross tasks, so that can be an annoying little tweak. One of the most annoying things about my personality is that I love physical comedy, but I do not like gross out comedy, and those things often overlap, so it's irritating. But so I'm not really into a gross task, but the tasks at this point are pretty consistently good, right? Like, yeah, you'll get a bad one here or there, and you'll get some truly great ones, but they're all pretty strong. They've been vetted. They're pretty good. So the difference between seasons, so much of it just comes down to that cast and how they mix together, not only in the studio, but in how they did the tasks in the world. It's why some of my favorite seasons, I think, really come down to cast chemistry. Like, I don't know which season number it is, but the one with Fern and John and
oh gee, that's probably what, 8 seasons ago?
No, I think it's like, isn't it around 15, season 15 maybe? Something like that. Anyway, but also the season with May and Kyle,
also
and Jenny, Claire,
making sure to introduce the team tasks as well.
Oh,
so it's not just everyone in isolation, that you can also mix, like the pairing of Reese and Maisie.
Yes. I mean,
season,
when she was like, I'm afraid of him.
And then the other team just being just like Sanjeev is just great. And that just, again, so you get that mix up. And I need to go back for my periodic rewatch, because the team tasks, I don't recall being there from the start.
No.
When they started introducing that.
I believe they're not in the first season. I think they do start in season 2, though. Is season 2 Catherine Ryan, and I can't remember. There's so many now. But I don't think it's until season 2 that they start the
Which
team
is clearly
tasks.
a thought that they had of like, hey, we can mix this up a little more and introduce an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
And then also, because you have an odd number, that you have a 3 and a 2, is also just a unique
Yeah. Well, how about it's funny that we're talking about this, because I can't remember if it's season 2 or not, but the Catherine Ryan season, we just happened to see a part of an episode from that season the other day. And when they did the team task, they brought in Josh Widdicombe from the other season
to balance out the numbers.
To be the third number. And so like they clearly were still trying to figure it out. Like, will it even work to do it with these odd numbers? So it's pretty funny.
So here's my question to you in the evolution of a writer.
Okay.
Because we've been fans of Taskmaster for years. You've been mainlining Taskmaster for years.
Yes.
How much do you think, in some way, when you're putting together like a cast of supporting characters and personality dynamics in the Cull or Absolute Wonder Woman, that that influence might be showing up as
I
far
don't
as
think I
the
don't think that
dynamics?
I don't think the influence of Taskmaster is showing up at all, but I do think my obsession with and interest in the dynamics and the chemistry of Taskmaster is only reinforcing what I already believed, which is I've thought a lot about this because especially once she's starting to do a little bit of writing and like especially when I was more on social media and like people would come to me all the time and be like who would be the 6 people on your X-Men team or whatever. And I was always shocked by the way people want to put those together. And I get it. If you're a fan, if you're not coming at it from a writing standpoint, it makes sense to do this. But, people just want to put their favorite 6 characters together. 5, let's use 5 since that's the same as Taskmaster. And that's fun, but I would never put my 5 faves together. That's not a good dynamic. My 5 faves are probably have power overlaps that I don't want for a team that's doing any kind of saving the world crime fighting. I also, personality wise, I want some strong personalities. The one thing I talk about in Buffy all the time is, why do we think Spike became a main character and the show got demonstrably better in season 4 once Spike comes back on the scene? And it's because with season 3, you lost Cordelia. And Cordelia was a truth-telling character, and you need that. You can't have everyone just being friends all the time and like supporting each other. Like that's great.
Or being
It's
at each
not
other's
very,
throats all the
yeah,
time.
it's not very interesting. So you need some oil and water in there to like keep things interesting, to keep characters pushing on people. A truth teller character is always going to help, even if you just drop them like a bomb into a happy environment. They're going to immediately change things and create new story possibilities. I ran into this problem on Captain Marvel a little bit because I really liked Carol and Rhodey together, but I'd written this story, and I didn't create that, I inherited that, but I thought they were good characters that had some very interesting overlaps that they would connect on, especially with their military history and being heroes that don't always want to be heroes, but also really, really do want to be heroes. They went after it. They made choices to make themselves heroes. And there's a lot of commonality there. This idea of being a pilot, or this military person who goes away all the time and then comes home and is excited to be home. But then once they're home, they want to be away again. Like I love those dynamics. And so I thought they were a really interesting fit, but I'd written this story where in the future, Carol gets transported to the future and she sees a kid of Rhodey's that isn't hers. And so when she returned to the past, she felt like she had to break up with him because she was maybe getting in the way of this child eventually coming to fruition, right? And some people didn't like that as a plot point or didn't like that as a realistic thing. But, when you do these things, you're not sure how they're going to try out. You're just trying to push on the characters and see what happens to them under these stressful circumstances and these, changes or whatever. And so then she ended up hooking up with Strange while she's like trying not to drink. She ends up hooking up with Doctor Strange. And I got to tell you, they were super fun to write together. They were dynamite. I had so much fun. And part of me was like, should they be dating? And I was like, no, they should not be dating. These are not people who should date. These are people who should have a ill-advised hookup and are still friends, but maybe we shouldn't have done that. But okay, it's happened and let's move on. And so it's like, I think you got to think about, I guess I could have written her with Strange, but it just didn't feel real. It was really fun for me and hopefully for the readers, but it didn't feel like a real choice anyone would make. And at the end of the day, these have to be believable as real people who make real choices. So,
But you get fun little interludes. But that's the thing that I've responded to quite a bit in your work over the years is that you write really well, going back to that discussion we were having at the top of, you write for the quiet moments as well, the little beats, the little character moments. That always been a very strong suit to
Thank you.
the stories and the characters that you tell, and that I think is what makes and this is not used as a diminutive, so no one take it that way. What makes it so endearing in your writing is that you have those little beats. Like it's what is an incredibly serious and emotional run, your Black Widow run.
Mm.
To have the little beat of Clint and Bucky in the bushes, and that existing organically and realistically alongside what was happening in that story and what they were there to do, but that was the humanity and the human moment of those characters, and that beat was taken in that story and presented there, is what I think elevates those stories above something that might just be, it's here for the plot and to drive the plot. It's got to drive the plot, and we got to get the plot, or we got to get the action.
Yeah.
We got to get this.
Yeah.
That seems to be as important to you as plot. And I'm not saying that plot isn't important to you and action isn't important to you, because they clearly are. And you know, anyone who reads Absolute Wonder Woman as the most recent thing will understand that. But you still have those little moments and respect the power of those moments.
Yeah, and I think that, that stuff's really important. I mean, I think it's good you brought up Black Widow, because I think that was a book that became really known for its action. But I would also say, yes, it was a really like emotional book about super like intensely emotional horrors to go through. But yeah, I think what I'm always looking for is, I'm always trying to look at why anyone wants to spend time with these characters. And so I'm always trying to find that and bring that out in the voice. Sometimes it's more successful than others, but I think the other thing I'm always looking for is that it feels organic. It's one of the reasons why there's a big note. There's a note I have a problem with. A lot of writers have a problem with this note. And, you know, the better you get at circumventing the note before you get it. But especially if you're writing ensemble books, you get the note a lot. Actually, that's not true. I should not cast this on DC. I get the note a lot at Marvel. Which is, you know, you're on issue 20 of Captain Marvel, and some editor wants you to have Captain Marvel call Jessica Jones Spider-Woman. And I'm like, it's her best friend. She's not going to call her Spider-Woman right now. Like, it sounds like they haven't met, you know? It's like, Spider-Woman, get to the plane. Like, what? No, it's Jessica. It's Jess. Like, I mean, I'm not saying she wouldn't use it like in the field when people are around or whatever, but it would always be coming up in like a private scenario where I'm like, this is Carol and Jess. They're not rewriting the note. So to do that makes it sound wrong. It's not the way people talk. And that bothers me all the time. Because, you know, listen, people are not as eloquent as written text. Obviously, written text is well considered, it's edited, it's tweaked, it's whatever. So, but you're still aiming for something that feels organic and natural and like the way people interact with one another. If not, you're writing fucking robots, you know, like who do not have feelings and who can be programmed. So that was always a note that I have got a huge problem with, because it instantly makes your characters feel like they're not human and they don't have relationships. You're talking about characters that have known each other for decades and have decades of stories written about them. You can't all of a sudden have them using code names in personal situations just because, well, we haven't gotten the superhero name on the page yet. Well, and I don't find another way because I don't want her. I can't have her calling her Spider-Woman right here. It doesn't fucking make sense. So I think that my aversion to that note is best described as I'm always looking for and trying to tweak my dialogue so that it feels real. A funny exception would be Wonder Woman has a weird style that I'm using there. I think Diana herself has pretty conversational, like it's a little more formal. I wouldn't call it stilted. I mean, it's not like she doesn't use contractions or anything like those sort of tricks we use sometimes. So it's not totally formal or anything, but particularly when she's like calling the gods and stuff, there's like a more formal cadence to it. And the idea there is more that there's power in words, and there's power, especially for a witch, in words said a specific way in specific sequence and things like that. So I pay a lot more attention to the cadence of Diana's speech and how it all sounds in Wonder Woman. But I'm always, again, looking for that conversational way in which that helps you fall in love with these characters and helps you believe that they're real. And that helps to anchor when someone kicks someone in the face later. They need each other.
Diana
in my
strikes
opinion.
me in her conversation with folks like Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Meaning,
That's not bad.
like she's supremely engaged and present in the conversation, and there's a formality and as you said, there is an intentionality in how she addresses and engages in like she really is engaging with you when she's talking with you.
I'm glad
she's not thinking about 50 other things.
Yeah.
And that, in thinking about what you just said, that's what struck me. It's like, oh, it's very much like a Mr. Rogers. It's like, oh, you are the center of the conversation when Diana is talking to you.
Yeah.
And that is sort of the vibe she's putting out.
Well, I'm really glad that's coming across, because that's certainly the intention, is that, she has an incredibly complicated mission that I think she personally feels like she'll probably die. Like, she'll die or she'll succeed. Like, that's how she views it. Like, she'll just keep going until she wins or until she's dead. And she hopes she's going to win because that'll be good for everyone. But if she dies, then that's worthy too, because she's going to die on this pyre of hope and trying to change and trying to make things better. And her belief is that that is the most important thing she brings to the table. Like, she brings literal power and, witchy power and God imbued strength and things like that. And all of that's valuable to saving the world, right? In a million little ways. But the true power of her, and I think she feels the power of all the heroes that are starting to emerge, is the power of example. The power of reminding people that they can fight, that they are strong together, that there are things worth fighting for, and that ultimately love is transformative, that it's our most powerful weapon. And, I think it's incredibly good messaging. I think we don't say a lot of it literally. I try to integrate my politics as best I can in an organic way, because I don't want to be preaching to anyone. I just want to be, through the characters, like inspiring them to what we're trying to say and getting people there without hitting them over the head with it. And I feel like most people are clocking it. I mean, I'm not saying everyone's getting every little layered nuance we're putting in there. I talked a lot on another podcast recently about like themes of silencing women in the book, and how I think if you step back and look at it, it's quite obvious that we're talking about that. I mean, the very first issue has Circe literally censored on the page. That first issue, we've taken the word Amazon. You don't make these the themes of your first issue of a major relaunch if they're not things you're trying to talk to people about. Right. About the power of words and the power of silencing people and taking away heritage. Yeah.
Who is one of the most problematic gods.
Yeah, certainly one of the most powerful. I mean, it's pretty funny that we don't even have to say his name except for in that first issue. I don't think we've ever said his name except for that first issue. And he just looms over the whole proceeding, as he has Diana's whole life. I mean, that's what happens when you're 1 year old, someone sends you to hell because they're hoping you'll die there. Like, I mean, it's crazy.
But it's also Diana's just sincerity.
Yes.
Like, she also seems, it's talking about that singular focus. Like, she would be the type that someone would like walk away from and go, does she do that all the time? And like, what? The eye contact thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she was like looking right at me, and like, no one does that, right? Because that's not a thing, that happens less and less, particularly as we're all disconnected, that to make eye contact, we're easily either distracted by, what's going on around, or, our camera placements when we're talking over Zoom, we're not making eye contact because someone's camera's off to this point, or you're looking at something else, or when we're, someone's keeping an eye on the clock while they're talking to somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I think that really you're right, that really came to the forefront in issue 3, both through two things. One, she's got that when she's making the city deaf, she's got that speech where she's literally having this insane eye contact and looking directly at the reader, which is also the person at home on their couch at Gateway City. But even before that, she's got the reporter and the cameraman asking her questions before they're recording. And she gives them a very honest, like, it's a complicated answer, but it's honest. She's like, there's 2 reasons why I don't want you to record this. And then she talks about it, and they kind of look at each other like, and the one guy's like, that was a really good answer. And the other guy's like, yeah, because it's honest, because people can feel when you're being honest with them. They can feel when something is bullshit, and they can feel when you're not engaged and you're not paying attention, and I do think you're right. Diana locks all the way in. Whatever she's doing right now is the most important thing.
And I think,
but she's also, in fairness to all of this talk about her, like, she's also had, I mean, I don't want to say her tasks have been easy. They have not been. I mean, that first task, she thought she was going to die. Like, that was not hyperbole. She was like, holy shit, I can't believe I got to fight the Tetracide. Like, are you kidding me? This is the first thing? Like, how did my mother not warn me? Like, I know that she only sees a little bit, but come on, she didn't see this shit? Like, I think, so I don't want to diminish that. I think her incredible problem-solving skills make people act like that wasn't that hard. But that was a city-crushing kaiju nightmare, and she handled it excellently.
I mean, to be fair, she had been established prior to that of having cut off her own arm.
Well, not when the Tetracide appears. The Tetracide appears at the end of 2. And we don't see the arm thing until 3. But yeah, but you're right.
But she has a history as a character.
Yes,
which
yes,
revealed that.
Yes, which there was this hilarious meme that
she has a very high threshold for being plussed.
Yeah, there was this hilarious meme going around that was using Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and there were like people in a huge melee fight in the background, and the receptionist in the foreground just like living her best life, like doing selfies, and they were like saying that it was Bruce and Cal in the background, and Diana having adventures in a maze in the front. And it was really funny. I think I even reposted it because I thought it was great, but I wanted to be like, listen, this bitch cut her arm off before we even got started. So do we really have to compare like who's going through it more?
Yeah, let's see how Bruce does against the giant kaiju monster in the bay. Yeah.
But I will say that this arc that we're currently in with the incredible Mateus Bergara, then the last issue of his arc, number 14, comes out next week. Well, actually, I don't know when this is going out. It comes out the Thanksgiving weekend. Whatever that is.
It'll be out for people listening to this. So.
Okay, all right. So that one, she's been going through it pretty hard in this 2-issue arc, facing a new threat, and then this Season of the Witch arc, and not to mention the Batman issue that comes at the end of the year. She's the more prominent she becomes, the more people are coming for her, and the more good ideas they'll have about how to take her out. So, don't think she's just gonna be happily and idyllically in her little forest all the time. But I do think...
Are you implying that gods are vindictive?
Yeah, I do think that she'll never let go of all of that. Like, that's just who she is. Like, that, like, people are like, oh, hell wasn't even that bad. No, hell was horrible, but she knows how to make the best of it, right? She knows how to befriend everyone and how to fight when she has to and how to change the system. Yes, yes. So I would say we haven't seen that much of her time in hell, and it was awful, even above and beyond, like being separated from your people, having a word taken away from you that's the word that you are, you know, her and her mother scraping by in a desolate, depressing place. Like, thanks to her mother, she was able to take what was innate in her and turn it all to their advantage. But that doesn't mean it wasn't suffering. That doesn't mean it didn't take incredible measures to get there.
Well, also starting off life essentially as a pawn.
Yes, yes. I mean, I think she has a really good... We've got some... I don't know when we'll get to this kind of dialogue, but I would say that her internal on that kind of thing is something like that. Yes, that was intended as punishment or as death or as whatever, but instead what it did was hone her into the finest weapon imaginable. Like, congratulations, you played yourself. Like, you made me 10 times stronger than I ever would have been, right?
Yeah, because this is the agency that I can have in this moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we've had a very long conversation.
Yeah, I know. What was it I said? Oh no, I don't have much time.
But it's been so many years.
Yeah, yes, so it has been a long time.
So,
yeah.
and I had to get the Taskmaster stuff in.
Well, I was going to say, I wanted to talk about the Taskmaster stuff too, but I'm sure like hardcore comic fans will be like, what the fuck are they talking about? I just skipped through this part.
You know what? Those
it's a mistake, people.
Comic fans should go watch Taskmaster.
They should. Here's the thing. Why isn't everyone watching it? It's available for free on YouTube.
It's got everything they love about comic book storytelling in it.
If you're stressed out and you'd like a break from the horrible fucking world, and who doesn't want that? It's just wall-to-wall comedy. And if you've never seen it before, it's like 25 fucking seasons of comedy. It's
That's not if you're counting the international versions.
Well, I know. Someone said it to me the other day, like, oh, we've just gotten into Taskmaster, and I was like, I'm honestly so fucking jealous right now.
And it's also just a gateway to all of the other work that if you find a contestant you love, you suddenly find their stand-up specials or the sitcom they did or the movie they did or whatever.
That's been the craziest thing about it, is Adam and I sort of feeling like we're a little, just a teeny bit British now, because we know about this culture that was just completely, you know, this comedy panel show stuff they do, and like they're so into, and all these comedians, mostly British. There are sometimes other Aussies and Americans and a few other places come in, but it's mostly Brits, and you can find them on all these other shows too. And yeah, they have stand up, they have all this. It's a whole little microcosm. One of my favorite parts of watching the Taskmaster is when they have episodes that still have like the bumpers on it, where you get some British guy coming on and going, next up is the tea hour, you know, whatever fucking stereotypical
also,
thing I made up for him.
I wish there was tea hour.
So do I. And Adam is always like exiting out or whatever. And I'm like, stop it. I want to listen to that. He's like, what do you mean it's an advertisement? I'm like, it makes me feel like I live there for a minute. You know what I mean? Like
also,
that's what you would hear.
They still have announcers. Like in the US, they've gotten rid of live announcing like that.
Yeah. But it feels like we're in London and we just turned off our Taskmaster episode and that's what's going to be on next or whatever. I don't know.
On the telly.
I find it very interesting, but I spend a lot of time thinking about other people's lives and what they're like. And I don't know, maybe that's...
You should be a writer.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the writer in me, or maybe it's just boredom. I don't know, like, or dissatisfaction.
Again, not mutually exclusive. It could be all of those things. I'm glad that we're able to share Taskmaster. I hope maybe this will inspire. Maybe that'll make it to your readers on the newsletter. I do have a massive Taskmaster ranking post.
that I have been working on off and on. I'll work on it. I'll like all of a sudden have a bunch of things I think about,
and then they'll
and
drop
so I'll
another
go.
season.
And then I'll be like, fuck, now I gotta do this. But also we rewatch it. I was like, Adam and I did a full rewatch 2 years ago, a year ago, something like that. And I was like, oh, it's great. I'll finish writing the post after this because everything will be really fresh in my mind. But it's just so much. I think I'm just going to have to like break it up into pieces or something because there's no way. I mean, who would read that? It's like a book-sized post about Taskmaster.
I mean, they've already subscribed. If you put it out, they'll read it. I mean, they're kind of at that point a captive audience.
Clearly.
This is what they signed up for.
You're right. I mean, listen, if
there's any place, your own personal newsletter should be where that should live without any concern. What, are you going to start a newsletter for the newsletter? Like, if you want to read more, here's my Taskmaster spinoff, because I don't know if I want to burden you with it. No, I think that, I would love to see other folks' what their view on what their Taskmaster of comics lineup would be. Yeah. Again, that dynamic. It's all about that dynamic.
It is the magic dynamic. You got to think about it. And the personalities, the powers.
And you didn't fill out your 5. You stopped at 3.
I know. It's hard to commit.
Who's your Joker? You don't have a Joker.
I mean, I don't know. Is Clint the Joker? I mean, Clint and Kate are both pretty jokey.
Clint's old enough to be the more Sanjeev sort of.
Yeah.
I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
I don't know, man. I think also feeling very white. I don't like that. It's all white people right now. That's not great. I tend to not think of Laura as being white, but she mostly gets drawn that way. So I think we gotta acknowledge that. Maybe like, oh my God, I've got one. Luke Cage. Luke Cage should be on the show.
Perfect.
Oh my God, he's going to be so good. Now he's my favorite character to be on the show. Because he would be really earnest about it, and he'd be really good at a lot of stuff. But he would also be a dummy about some things. It would be really fun.
But he'd be serious about it in that endearing way. He'd have a
serious but a great attitude. Like, we're just here to have fun. Sweet Christmas.
As the Reese equivalent is having a meltdown.
Yeah. And I feel like Clint would annoy the shit out of him, which would be great. I guess we're assuming they sort of don't really have their powers, right? Or do they? I guess they do. I guess I'm talking about Laura destroying all the sets, so I guess they do have powers. I don't know. I'm going to have to think about the 5th. I feel really strong about these 4 now, though.
I'm actually
Luke unlocked something
that no one has reimagined an arcade story in a Taskmaster form to this point.
I mean, it's just too challenging. I think it's like too great, it's like, how do you do it justice, Yeah.
Is this the new version of the Contest of Champions that we have? Where's the Grandmaster in all this?
I want to say,
or where's the Nexus in all this?
The Nexus, yeah. He'd like to be on the show. I was sort of thinking maybe Hazmat, but I think her energy is too similar to Kate's. It's like more sarcastic and mean, but I don't know. Maybe that does work.
I mean,
maybe Hazmat. I'm not sold on that, but it doesn't feel like when I said Luke Cage and it was like everything snapped together. So I'm going to have to think about it some more. Anyway, thank you for forcing me to think about this when I'm supposed to be writing a script, Ken. Congratulations.
There's always Kamala.
I'll give you my my editor's email. Let them know it's your fault.
Kamala would have a grand time on Taskmaster.
Kamala is a great pick that I'm not going to pick. I think her plus Kate plus Clint is like a little too wacky. Also, her like over enthusiasm is great, but it can be grating. And I do think in that scenario, she'd be like very know-it-all-y, which is not her best quality. Like, I like that she has that quality. It's part of her that I enjoy, but I feel like it might come out in a way on a show like this. Like, the best Taskmaster contestants that have that quality, that know-it-all quality, are also self-aware that they're fucking idiot. Like, I think Reese had that a little bit. Like, I'm going to be great at this. And then he was like furious when he wasn't, but in a controlled comedy way, right? Like, it never.
Yeah. I think he came to a couple of studio records in. I think he realized, oh,
yeah,
I understand now what my character is in this, how I have been revealed, and then played to that.
Yeah.
Because they're all consummate performers too. They know an audience. They know how, I think they have enough self-awareness at a certain point.
Yeah. I was thinking Psylocke, like Quanon, but I think her energy is too like Laura's. See, again, I'm looking for the balance here. Her energy feels too similar to Laura's, so I think that's a no.
What's great is now my work here is done. You're going to be thinking about this.
Yeah.
It's
Thanks a lot, man.
In the back of your brain. There's so many deadlines that are going to be missed now. You're going to set it aside going, I got to work on that Taskmaster.
Yeah, I got to figure out this thing that has no financial attachment to it whatsoever.
This is my new puzzle box.
Yeah, right.
What have you done? And
all right,
again,
man.
That's the Nexus. So anything that obviously Absolute Wonder Woman still coming out.
Yes, Absolute Wonder Woman is rolling on by. We've got next week is the issue 14, which if you've been waiting for Zatanna, you're going to get a peek. And then Batman, the big Batman issue is in December to close us out for the year. That's also our last issue of Birds of Prey is coming out next month, beginning of the month though. So just in a couple weeks. And there will be more Jeff coming in the new year, and also Buffy and Angel that I'm excited to start talking about. Finally, we're finally getting to the point where we can do that. I still don't know how to do it, but I'm working on it.
And clearly there's some stuff in the background that you just can't talk about yet.
Yes, there are a couple little announcements still back there, but one of them I'm particularly excited about, but they're a little premature for sharing, yeah.
But hey, they exist, and I'm happy to hear that that's the case. Well, this has been a delight to do this. We should do it more than once every 6 years.
Yes, that will be good. Maybe we could keep it shorter if we do it more often.
It's so ridiculous that it's taken this long. Or we'll just start that Taskmaster podcast we talked about.
Yes, I wish it would be fun.
Well,
but honestly,
when you find
the biggest problem now is that thing I was telling you about. Like, I don't want a fucking Bleeding Cool article. It's like, this is the worst contestant on Taskmaster. Like, who gives a shit? But it makes me really uncomfortable that people are like taking that stuff out of context and then just running with it. And then nobody sees the original material. So it's frustrating. Anyway.
Yeah, it's weird. This
tale as old as time. Anyway.
Well, this has been a delight. If everyone listening, please go check out everything that Kelly has ever done, is doing, is going to do. I don't know how much more emphatic I can be about what a wonderful journey all of it is. And I say that, and I hope she understands that I'm going to continue to say that she is an amazing writer and does amazing work, and everyone should check it out. As far as the stuff that I do, you can find, if you want to become a patron, go to patreon.com/Ken Plume. That'd be swell. At even $1, you get access to all of my exclusives. And I'm putting a bunch of stuff from my archives up. So like 25, I don't even want to say this, like 25 years of interviews.
Oh, wow.
That I'm pulling it from my archives and putting back up. So I think I have an Ian McKellen piece that's coming up that I'm pulling out and dusting off and putting there. That's like a 3-hour conversation we had, I think, before Lord of the Rings came out.
I mean, what are you doing talking to me? Ian McKellen? It's awesome.
Because you're just as important
that
and
is
fun. And I don't
true.
think he will talk about Taskmaster with me.
Well, there's a good point.
So, yeah, please go check that out and follow on Blue Sky's the best place right now as it stands right now.
Yep.
That's the best place to find me. And Kelly's over there too. And you can find announcements from Kelly on all the stuff that's coming up. So bye, Kelly, and bye, everybody.
Bye, Ken.